All right, Taben. Well, you know what? This is our season finale, which is kind of cool. So
It
we're doing
is.
things
That's
a little
amazing.
different for this episode. Yeah,
So we've been
and
doing this a full year every week for a year, and a season
full
finale.
week for every
That's
year.
pretty exciting. Thank you for all you furs that have listened to us and stuck with us through the fluff. That's amazing. Love you for it. Looking forward to season 2 to hang out with you.
and all the fluffs and furs that have come on lately, and just up and signed in and started listening, and share it with your friends, share it with your parents. You know, if you want to come out to your parents as furry, just tell them to listen to this podcast. It's like,
Just don't even say anything else. Just listen to this, and then you run away
right,
for a long time. And
right.
then sneak back home a week later before your parents know you're gone. Then it'll be fine.
This is Barely Furcasting, featuring Taben, an Injured Nerves audio production. Hello everyone in the podiverse, Barely Normal here, and welcome to Barely Furcasting featuring Taben. Today's episode is going to be a little different. This is our season finale. This is our 52nd regular episode and our 54th overall because we did a Christmas special and a special live broadcast from FC 2021. It's been an amazing year, from a small startup podcast recorded on Zoom with just that crazy pup Taben to having a staff of 4 other folks helping us out. Raccoon was our first fur to reach out to us and ask us if they could help us out. Shortly after, we were joined by Canes, both of whom signed on as associate editors to assist with the endless hours of editing. And then Reg Day joined us, providing us with original music for the podcast. Later, we were joined by Kois Raccoon as our media guru, and most recently, Bixby Wolf as another associate editor, replacing Canes, whose work schedule prohibited him from further podcast editing. Now, soon it was clear that we needed someone to screen guests and do the legwork to land them. Rain stepped up to do that in addition to his editing duties. All in all, we have a great staff, and we hope this turns out a great podcast that you enjoy listening to. You know, over the last 54 shows, we've had a lot of notable furs on the show. To mention a few, we've had Fox Amore, Pepper Coyote, Uncle Kage, Ruckus, Kyle Gold, Cassidy Civet, Fluke, Matrices, Pacho Fur, Temperance, and Fur Science, to name just a few. Believe it or not, we're listened to in over 63 countries and 997 cities, with the USA being the most listened to area. The city we are most listened to is San Jose. We are on 38 podcast platforms, and you can listen to the show on any web-enabled device. To date, our most downloaded episode is episode 16, where our guest was Momo Mouse and Temperance. Let's take a listen to some stuff that Momo and Temperance had to say. Well, what are you, Temperance?
Most of the time, I'm a dinosaur, Parasaurolophus.
A Parasaurolophus.
Yeah, it's a duck-billed dinosaur.
Okay.
Ooh.
Well, there we go. Who knew? I didn't know that. So
Learn something new every day.
And you're a fursuit maker and a dancer and a dragon mom and all sorts of different things.
Yeah, I'm a whole lot of things.
Barely mentioned that you are like a bunch of different things. Could you tell us about your different personas?
Well, you know, like most people, we're multifaceted. We have different parts of ourselves. And certainly one person is not just a writer or a sewer or a dancer or anything. And so I guess a lot of furries tend to compartmentalize. So myself as Temperance is mostly just me as a dinosaur. I wear a hoodie and I sew and I hang out and I'm pretty casual. I do have some other personas though. A lot of people don't know, but I am also Momo Mouse.
Yay!
Yeah, sometimes I'm a little squeaker. And then other times when I want to be scary, I have a dragon mom as well. Made a lot of dragons over the years. So I decided at one point I should probably just make a dragon character to be mom to all of my dragon creatures, and which dragon mom was born. So I'm a little bit of all three, and each one is a different part of me. And so Temperance would be my fursuit making part, and Momo is my dancing and, I don't know, optimistic part, and Dragon Mom's just my grouchy mom part.
Really, it's so unfair. How come Momo never gets to be the guest? It's always boring Temperance with her dinosaur stuff.
Wow, Momo, it's good to see you. I hope Temperance didn't just hear you say that. Did you kick her out of the room?
I'm the star of the show now.
So, Momo,
Yes,
how long have you been dancing and what got you into it?
I've been dancing for like 9 years, I think. And you know what I got into it? Was the furry fandom.
Yay,
Sort
furry.
of. I'll tell you the long story. When I was a little mouse, a little teeny tiny thing, my mom signed me up for like a dance class. And you know, when you're a kid and you do classes, a lot of it's just like playing games and stuff because kids don't have like focus enough to like learn anything. So we'd go to these classes and all we'd do is play like what time is it, Mr. Wolf, and red light, green light, and I was like, I'm not here for that. I'm here for dancing. So I just lie under the bench and stare at the ceiling and I didn't do anything. And my dance instructor came to my mom at the end of the class and said, I don't think Momo is meant to be a dancer. And we never took another dance class again, ever.
All right, so joining now is Rain Raccoon. Hello, Rain. How are you?
Hey, Barely. I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm not too bad. You were one of the first outsiders, quote unquote, to join the podcast back in August of 2020.
That's correct.
Yeah, we were only 16 episodes in. So why did you say, hey, I want to be a part of this particular project?
Well, I mean, Taben was like the first fursuiter I met. So even before I met you, I just really fell in love with his whole vibe, and then I met you, and we went motorcycle riding out to the coast and had a fantastic time. And when you needed help, I jumped in because that's what I do. I help friends.
You help friends and furs as well,
and furs, especially furry friends.
Yes, and you helped to bring a new furry into the fold just recently.
Yes, I did. That would be Moritz.
Yes, it would be. So is that how you say it? I keep saying it Moritz, but it's Moritz.
I'm not sure. I'm not
I'm
German,
not sure
so,
either. Yeah, it could be either.
I think it's Moritz though, because there's a dish called pork San Moritz that they serve at German restaurants.
So he would be Crow San Moritz.
I guess he would be. Yes, I hope not, because that's not a good.
But isn't sans? No, that's German for without. So
yeah,
so yes. German is definitely different. So
yeah, it's something weird. I'm not 100% sure because, like I said, I'm not German.
Right. So have you worked on any podcasts before, or was this your first?
No, this is the first podcast I've worked on. I've done video editing and audio work for a very long time. I own my own professional DJ business. So plug. Yes.
What is it called?
It's called Procyon Audio Services.
And why Procyon? Explain it to our fans.
Well, Procyon is the Latin name for raccoon. It's the species name. So Procyon lotor is raccoon. Yeah, I kind of liked the sound of it, and so I have a little raccoon on my logo with a star above him, because Procyon is also a star.
Oh, well, there we go. You're a star raccoon. That's awesome.
Exactly.
So what do you do for us at BFFT?
So I started off, as we said, as an associate editor, and edited quite a few of the interviews. Then after that, when you needed some help with finding talent, I jumped in with both feet to become the talent director.
Yes, you did. And you have found us some really good furs to be on the show. That's awesome. And we are busy. We are booked through to I believe June at this point with guests.
Yes, and I've got a lot more coming up too. I've just been trying to wrangle them together. It's like herding cats and dogs and other assorted furry species.
And Tabens, yes.
And Tabens, yes.
Thank God there's only one.
He's in the list all his own.
All his own. So in all the episodes, have you listened to all the episodes?
Yes, I've actually listened to every single episode.
Wow. So have I, multiple times. Many times, over and over and over. So is there a favorite moment or a favorite something from any of the episodes that you have that stands out in your brain?
I mean, like my favorite thing in most of the episodes is something that sometimes the audience doesn't get to hear. It's the times when Taben cracks himself up so hard that he just sits and giggles for minutes and minutes and minutes, and sometimes we have to cut some of that out because he just can't even get a word in edgewise between his giggling. But like I've got like probably 3 really favorite moments that stand out to me.
Okay,
that would probably be like episode 31, the Theratail gag.
Okay.
That just cracks me up for some reason.
Are you nervous, anxious, on edge, scared, or apprehensive? Perhaps you are fearful of doing something new, or you're irritated over traffic, crowded airports, COVID, or Uber. Well, all of these things can be calmed or overcome through the newest therapy from Puprezenica, Theratail. Theratail is a replica of the soft and fluffy tail of Taben, and when held tightly or stroked during particularly intense situations, can relieve the tension, make you calm, and help you become the fur you need to be. Theratail is not for everyone, but it may be for you. Ask your veterinarian or pup pharmacist if Theratail is right for you. Do not use Theratail if you are currently using another calming device, have no need for Theratail, or are under the age of 21 in dog years. Side effects may include pupping, wagging, chasing leaves, incoherent rambling, running around tables, hugging lamps, and general pupphoria. Theratail is not a real product. Claims are not verified by the FDA or the PDA. If you can't afford your Theratail, Puprezenica may be able to help. Theratail, when you need to be calm.
And then, episode 42 was when Finn was on, and Taben worked so hard for a joke that just didn't pay off like he hoped it would.
Yeah, I remember that day. Yes.
And Finn was just completely oblivious to Taben trying to set him up for that joke, and it just didn't work. And Taben he soldiered through it and just kept going.
Yeah, normally we would have edited that out, but it was so funny to listen to him just try it hard that we just left it in.
I probably laughed harder at that than I have in a long time, because I'm sitting here editing it and I'm thinking, I know he wants to leave this out, but it's just too funny not to keep in there.
Right.
I want you to say again that what did he say? You said, here's the kicker. I've never actually been to a FurCon. Say that again.
Yeah,
there's a reason for this.
Yeah, I've never been to a FurCon yet. Mostly because timing and money. Like I've tried to go to so many, but it never worked out on either timing or money. Just it was always kind of better spent elsewhere, or something came up. So
I'm not doing
a victim of circumstances.
I'm not doing a good job of making you do what I want you to do. So okay, I'll try. So say that again and then stop, because then I have something I want to say. This is going to be so stupid now that I'm trying so hard to make this work. But I've been working really hard at this, so I feel that we really need to go through with this. Let's
all right,
hold on together.
Okay.
Wait, everybody stop. I think what he wants you to say is the actual words. Here's the kicker.
All right, here's the kicker. I've never actually been to a FurCon.
Dun, dun, dun.
All that.
Wow, that was it?
That was what I was trying to get us to do. But there came a point in me trying to get us to do that where I thought, just let it go. Then I thought, I am a tenacious pup. I am determined to make this happen.
And let's see. I think my third favorite is actually from a recent episode, number 47, with Sherbert. And it's when Taben kept forgetting that Gelato was Sherbert's brother, not Gigolo.
I don't think I paid much attention to that. I never really paid attention.
He said Gigolo like probably 10 times.
Sherbert, ice cream, and Gigolo. I mean, no, it's not Gigolo. It's
Gelato.
Gelato.
I'm sorry, what? Gelato.
Gelato. Oh, are those different things?
I can guarantee you Sherbert's not Gigolo.
Okay. These are different things, apparently. I'll have to look that up later and find out.
He might be Jiggly Jello, but he's not a gigolo.
Okay.
Now I want to hear the David Lee Roth song again.
Not just a gigolo.
I ain't got nobody. Does that mean you were decapitated? Yeah. No, shut up.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Nice. Okay. Well, we thank you for all the work you've done. You have saved me hours of editing. I haven't edited it up yet, but between the two of us and Canes and Bixby, we've probably got over 10,000 hours of editing under our belt, at least.
Easy. I mean, people don't realize it takes sometimes, 6 to 8 hours just to compile a 1 hour worth of audio.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty rough sometimes, and if there's problems, then it takes even longer.
Oh,
And
sure. Yeah.
yeah, so
So-
it's definitely a lot of hours, but it's a labor of love. I really enjoy working on the podcast, and
Well, we
it's
enjoy
pretty
having
much,
you.
well, thank you. It's
Yeah.
pretty much kept me sane during this whole pandemic.
Literally, we could not do this show without you.
Oh,
And there is no other way to say that. But
of course, the friendships I've made from working on the show, and it's just been phenomenal. I just it's made this year, this whole last year of pandemic, all worthwhile to me because I've got to make such great friends and do
Cool.
some really fun stuff.
Well, thanks again. We're going to let
Yeah,
you
of
go,
course.
and we're
All
going
right.
to move on to some other stuff. So we'll talk to you later.
Take care.
During the beginning of the podcast, we checked in with Taben every week to see how he was doing on chasing his tail. And as we learned, his tail was not very happy about that at the very end. So let's give a listen to what happened to his tail story as time progressed on.
I run around the coffee table sometimes, and sometimes I'll chase my tail, and I still haven't caught it, but I'm working up to it.
So let's just jump right in, and we want to know, of course, how the tail chasing saga is going. Did you catch it this week?
No, I have not caught it quite yet. I got pretty close, but the fluff just keeps eluding me. I'm going to keep working on it. Definitely a project for this week coming up. Maybe, I'm usually counterclockwise chasing it, but maybe I need to revert to just clockwise. It seems counterintuitive to me to have to do that. Maybe I'm just going to have to mix up my strategy that way. Well, so I did work on my tail a little bit more.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I worked on chasing to try and catch. I haven't done it yet, but I'm still working on it.
So let's jump right in and find out, has the tail been caught?
Oh, it's getting so close. So I did that thing. If you remember last week, we talked about Furs had sent some advice videos and everything of other doggies running around. And so we were thinking that maybe doing the clockwise thing might work. So I tried that in kind of conjunction with counterclockwise to see if I, play the fields out, see how it would go. Clockwise actually, honestly, got me a little bit closer.
Wow.
It's still like he's right there. He being tail, of course.
The tail,
He's
yes.
right there, and it's like, oh, he's so close, but then the fluff just fluffs away, and I can't. So then I keep going, but I don't know. Maybe I was thinking maybe I'll try mixing it up a little bit, and I'll chase tail clockwise, but in a figure eight. Some Furs would argue that, like, well, if you're in a figure eight, you can do it both ways, and they don't necessarily talk like this, but I'm talking like this now for whatever reason. But they're, if you the figure eight, the top, if you start going clockwise, then the bottom part of the eight, you're going counterclockwise. So when I mean clockwise figure eight, I mean start going clockwise. And then maybe the fluff will be got.
So tell us, Taben.
Yes.
Have you caught the tail?
That question is going to haunt me, I know, because it's so close. It's like one time, I think it was just the other day, it was right there, and it's like my mouthy was right like on it. My little fuzzy little puppy lips right on it, and then it just fluffed. I didn't have a big enough hold, so I cannot quite classify that as a caught. I can classify that as a bed, but not a caught. Huh. But I was using some pretty good techniques, though. I started doing a three-dimensional thing. Instead of chasing tail clockwise, like in a planar fashion, I kind of did a uppy-downy thing. And I think that helped me get a little more gravity involved, and I could speed up a little more. So I'm learning some good tricks from this. This is a very good thing.
Did you catch your tail?
Well, guess what? It happened. Yes. You might remember last week I was talking about a new technique I was trying, and I've worked on it. And that technique was, you might remember in the beginning I was mostly counterclockwise, and I was getting close, but not quite doing it. And then a few weeks later, we had some suggestions from other Furs and videos to help me out, and we kind of got the idea, okay, clockwise. So I started doing the clockwise thing, and you might remember me talking about how that was working, that was getting closer. And then last week, you might remember I mentioned I was doing like a three-dimensional, like an up and down thing, so I'd be going clockwise, but also kind of jumping and stuff, like a wave to kind of pounce on it, and I worked on that, and the other day, it happened. Only briefly, but I leapt and I pounced in a clockwise motion, and it got in my mouthy, for just a brief second, because then I fell and tripped over my posies, and then I lost Mr. Tail. But I did it. I know I'm going to keep working on it, and I'll get better and better. It's exciting.
So let's just start off with what everybody's interested to know about the tail. Did we catch the tail this week?
Yes. So you might remember last week I mentioned I held it in my mouth for just a few seconds before, well, I tripped over my posies, and so it kind of lost it then. But I did it. And so I've been practicing more, and I've caught it a few more times, and held on to it for a few more seconds each time. I'm getting better at not tripping over posies. I'm getting a little bit more flowy in the wind as I run. I'm still using the same technique where I chase clockwise, kind of in an up and down fashion. So I've got a 3D aspect to it, and I'm getting a little more elegant in my jumping, and the wind goes through the fur and the fluff, and I think it's becoming a pretty nice little dance I'm having with my tail, and it's becoming productive. So I'm looking forward to seeing where this takes me in the future.
It's a dancing tail.
The tail of the dancing tail, it never fails to dance with their tail.
So how's your tail?
My tail's great. Tail wags all over. He does keep getting caught. I'm doing better with that. But I don't think he minds being caught because he still wags all over and everything. My technique, I've been working on it. I've been improving it. I don't know, maybe sometimes tail just likes to make me feel good and let me catch him these days. I'm not really sure. It makes me feel good about myself.
That's good.
In fact, I've been catching so much that I get some fluff in my mouthy, and that's kind of, I have to spit it out and stuff. But it works. It works.
So tell me, Taben.
Yes, hi.
What has happened with the tail?
So Tail and I have gotten a good relationship going. I've been doing the techniques like I've talked about before, and I catch him, and we have a good old time and stuff. I tried venturing out a little bit, and there was a little squirrely outside, and I thought, oh, he's got a big fluffy tail. I can help him with that. And so I went out. And I didn't bark or anything, but I ran up right now, and he ran away. And it's like I was just going to try and help him chase his big fluffy tail, but I guess he didn't really understand that or something because I haven't seen him since. So maybe I scared him off. I don't know.
Oh,
yeah, I didn't mean to.
No.
So I'm going to try this week. I'm going to try again and be maybe a little bit more, maybe not sneaky pup, because maybe that would make him a little more creeped out. So maybe I'll just try and be nice and just kind of paw my way up there and say, hey, Mr. Squirrely, that's a big bushy tail. Let me help you out with that instead of like bounding at him. Maybe that's what made him scared.
That might have done it. Just,
Yeah.
racing towards him might have done a little bit to scare him off.
Yeah, because I am kind of a big pup, and maybe that did it too. So I think that's my project for this week, is to try and share my knowledge of the tail chasing.
All right.
With other fluffs out there.
Before we go into that,
Yes.
everybody needs to know how the tail is.
Ah, yes. Yes, I'm sure all you furs are on the edge of your seat to know how the tail is gone this week. So I saw a squirrely out there, and so I went. I just did what I did last time. I just kind of walked up calmly, so I didn't scare him away that way like the first time, you might remember. And then I went up and pet his tail like he let me do last time. And last time, you might remember what happened was then immediately I ran off and started chasing my tail at him, and that scared him off, I think. So this time I pet Tail, and then I assured him it was okay. And I just slowly started chasing Tail, slowly. And then I went around once and then looked and made sure he was okay. He was still confused, but he stayed there, and that was great. And then I pet his tail again, and then I tried it again one more, and then he kind of got the idea. He kind of went around slowly and cautiously at his tail, and that was exciting. And I didn't want to give him too much all at once, so I left him with that, and I said, practice, and I'll see you later. So I'm excited to, and then I went and practiced chasing my own tail a few times just to make sure I still had the technique down, and I did. So we'll see. I'm excited to meet up with Squirrely this next week and see how he's doing.
All right. So then at one point, Tail had decided that he had had enough, and he wrote a letter to Taben. And before we get into the Tail saga, this came in my email today. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Dear Taben, I am your tail. I help you balance, and I enjoy being your tail. But why do you always chase me? Lately, this is causing me a great deal of anxiety, as I never know when we wake up if I will be able to simply laze around you as you nap in the sun, or if I will be running away for my very life from your ever so sharp puppy teeth. Why are you so mad at me that you have to chase me every day? Have I insulted you in some way? I love you, Taben, and I love being your tail, but could you please stop chasing me so much? Thank you very much, your tail.
Oh, Tail, I'm so sorry. I had no idea you had these feelings. Well, what's a pup to do? Okay, I will work at not chasing you too much. I don't want to scare poor Tail, but you're just so fluffy and you run away and it's just tempting me. But okay, I'll do better. I'll do better at not doing that. I will take my found techniques that you have so wonderfully helped me with, and I will spread forth and help. You might remember there was that squirrely. We helped that squirrely last week. And I will work to help others instead of chase you now that I've learned these techniques.
As we opened each show, we always had what we called a cold open or what they call a Marin open. And some of them were dumb and some of them were silly and some of them were just clips that didn't fit in the show. But here's a collection of some of the ones that we did over time.
I meant to listen to a podcast before this, so I knew what it was like. So I guess I'm admitting to everyone that I don't think I've ever, sorry, every fur, I didn't mean to offend any fur out there. I just inadvertently admitted that this pup has never heard a podcast. Oh my cow. Let's just start.
Okay, do you need to fingers?
I'm a horsey. No, I'm really a pup.
I gotta put my readers on because old Gray Muzz.
And Bunny knows
Gray
it.
Muzz. Everybody knows it. I don't know what that was.
I don't know. But I loved it.
Everybody knows it.
Yeah. Everybody knows it. Oh, I love that because bunnies have little noses and they're cute and fluff. And you just did that. That was
okay. I pressed the record button. Hi.
You pressed it. That's amazing.
I pressed the record button. I know it's amazing. It's a thing that I can do. I can push a button. It's important
to be able to push a button.
Yes.
Especially in this day and age.
Yes.
Apparently, I don't know anything. I'm just a pup.
Yes, indeed. Same. Taben, what are you talking about?
I have no idea, and thanks for asking. Well, we are here again.
We are, yes.
Marin.
Marin. Here we are.
This is our Marin. I don't know. What? These words are hard.
But blah, 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 blah.
Do that again, please.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, no, I like it. You know, I was talking to this fur, and it turned out, I mean, nice fur, but it turned out he wasn't the smartest light in the candle.
But Taben, there's only one light in a candle.
And he wasn't the smartest one. What's wrong with us, Barely? What is wrong with us?
Well, we're furries and we have a podcast. That's two reasons that it was wrong
with
us.
Who let that happen? Who actually let that happen? Okay.
Most listeners will remember that Taben can lose control at any given moment, at any time during the show. And a lot of times he just loses control and starts laughing and he can't control himself. Just like this.
I don't know. I don't let me try that again.
Oh, no, just keep going. Just keep going.
Okay. I don't know if I can. Okay. Okay. I'm trying again. This is like, okay. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. After he picked himself up from the grime, two police officers began to harass him about appendicitis. I don't know what. Yes. Oh my. Okay.
Are you alive?
I am okay. Oh, this is so funny. Okay.
A big part of our show is story time with Taben, which is every other week on our episodes. But one story time stands out in just about everybody's memory, and that was the story that he read during our Christmas special. Let's give a listen.
Hi.
I understand that you wanted to read a Christmas story.
Ooh, I want story time.
Yay.
Yeah, story time.
Yeah, I figured it would be just appropriate if I do a story time with Taben for the pubcast. So this story is called Hurry Up Santa. Are we ready?
Ready.
Okay. I love the let's go. So all of a sudden it's like a Schwarzenegger action film, Hurry Up Santa thing. Do. The wagging intensifies and gun flails.
The Santanator.
The Santanator. I like it. I love it. So this is the story of the Santanator. Hurry up, Santa. So notice how I put that. Anyway, yeah. And I don't know who this is by. It just says Happy House. So this is by Happy House or something. And it's also by $1.39.
Nice.
And so
One of my favorite authors.
One of my favorite. He's really good. He's
pretty cheap most of the time, though.
He's really cheap all the time. You got it right.
Find him at the dollar store, though.
You might. So there's a picture of Santa at his desk, and he's got little elves, the little jack-up box. I don't know what a jack-up box is, but they're carrying it around. Jack in the box. What's a jack-up box?
I love them both.
I don't know. This is starting out really well so far. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And if you continue to listen, I love you so much.
That would be Jack-a-Box Day, right?
It's pretty much. So it says, it's Christmas Eve. Hurry up, Santa. It's time to go. And then you turn the page with your pauses. That's not what the book says. That's what I just tried to do with my pauses. Yeah, I know it. I so wanted that to be part of the story. And then their elves are hitching up the reindeer. They're hitching up. So apparently the reindeer are getting married because the elves are hitching them up.
Okay. That was an interesting turn.
That wasn't part of the book. But what is part of it, I found out.
The story just sidetracks. They're just reindeers now. No more Santa. It's just reindeers now.
And apparently there's raccoons too, because there's reindeers. Right?
Oh.
Rain. Because rain, you see what I just did there? Yeah.
We see what you did there.
Yeah, okay, good. So I'm not going to... Okay. So the next page says, the reindeer are eager to be on their way.
Okay.
That's it.
Well, they're off on their honeymoon. Of course they're eager.
Hurry up, Santa. The toys are in the sleigh. Okay. So... I guess they got their honeymoon gifts in the sleigh, and now they're on their way, and that is okay.
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 Damn it, I saw that coming.
Yeah, I know. I'm a little bit of a predictable pup. So off at last. Don't wait up for me, calls Santa to the elves. Now, this, I don't quite understand that. So maybe you can help me understand. So Santa's in the sleigh, and he's actually in the sleigh. The reindeer are all like, he's in the air and everything, and they're wearing their little reindeer wedding dresses. And they're
saying just married at the back of the sleigh.
They really did, right? On the back of the sleigh, there's little like hooves hanging off the back of the sleigh, planking, instead of cans. So that's what's happening, and it says, off at last. Don't wait up for me, calls Santa to the elves. But Santa's the one. Why don't wait up for me? I don't understand this.
I think he means don't stay up late waiting for him.
Okay, because now the elves are getting married. And
Sure.
Right. Sure.
am I sure I got this book from the dollar store or a different type of store? I don't know.
I don't know.
Is this like the
Everybody's getting married.
version of a Christmas story where everyone's getting married?
It's like it's kind of like a special type of FurCon, maybe. I don't know.
Oh my.
So now, exactly. So now there's a picture of Santa trying to fit down the chimney with, and he's big. He's eaten a lot of things for his wedding, apparently, and that's why he can't fit down the chimney, I guess. And
Too much wedding cake.
Too much wedding cake. Oh, Santa. That's why they call him the Santanator. And that makes no sense, but we'll just go with it. So it says, trouble already. Santa can hardly fit into the first chimney. The very first chimney. Dun, dun, dun. This story's really going crazy havocus. Havocus? That's a word I just made up, and I'm not going to try and explain it. Instead...
You gotta trademark it.
Not to be confused with Spartacus, which is a totally different thing.
That's a totally different thing. That's a totally different thing.
I think Havocus is his lesser-known brother.
Yeah.
I think so too. Yeah, right.
Evil twin.
It's let's see. It was Santa. I don't even know. Okay, hi. So I'm distracted by all the pretty weddings that are going on, and it's so pretty, and all the fluff that's flying around. And then all of a sudden, there's like a squirrel, a shiny squirrel, and so that's distracting this pup just a little bit. And so anyway, I'm reading a story, right? And so I'll just continue doing that. And on the next page, Santa is like in the chimney, like on the floor, like he actually made it through, but he's like all fallen down and going, oh! He's doing that apparently. And it says, down goes Santa! And that's a confusing phrase too, because shouldn't there be a bunch of ducks walking around on the page if down goes Santa?
No. It was a wrestling match. It was a wrestling match. Down he goes. He's down for the count.
Down for the count. The ducks win.
Different sport, but okay.
Different sport. The ducks have a quackingly good time in defeating the Santanator. Okay, anyway, so on the next page it says, Santa, Santa, where are you doing? He's looking in at one of the little children's room and watching the little child sleep, so all of a sudden this is getting to be a creepy Santa. And it says, are all the children asleep? Santa checks each room.
Oh, well,
so,
of course.
Very thorough.
Okay.
Very thorough.
So we've. I don't think I should comment on that because I am a innocent pup. So the next page says, and now for the presents. So now after after Santa gets done with all the children, now for the presents. And so now he's putting all the presents under the tree. Okay, that's good. And oh, look at this! He's a naughty Santa because he's got like all the trains out and he's playing with them. Every for gas on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. And Rain dies of lack of oxygen. I heard that. And it says, "Hurry up, Santa! There's no time to play." Back to work. Santa fills the stockings, and so now he's filling the stockings, and there's a fireplace with there's nothing
Fire?
exciting about that. We'll say with fun. Yes, it's a fun fireplace.
With fun.
And there's a little bridesmaid gown there in the corner. The bride's bride's rain. I don't know. Hurry, Santa! There's lots more houses to visit, and there they go up in the sleigh and the reindeer and stuff. And what's funny is I think so of course he's got his bag with all the toys in it, and it looks exactly the same as on the page where he turned off. So it's like he just kept all the presents. He played with them, and he checked on the children, and then he just kept the presents and left. Like, wow, I don't want this Santa for my Santa. And then it ends with Santa is sitting in his chair with a big mug of, I guess it's tea, and there's a little kitty on the floor sleeping next to him, and it says, home at last, what a night. The end.
Now, without listeners, podcasting is just a guy or a couple of people talking into a microphone. And we wanted to engage our listeners and the furs out there in the podiverse, so we came up with an idea for what we called 5-minute furs for fun. And we allowed our guests, or not our guests, but our fans, to call in as if this was a radio show and chat with us for a few minutes. This has been met with some success at some times and sometimes not. But here's a couple of clips to give you the idea. So,
Wow.
5-minute furs for fun. We
Two
turned
of
it on,
you.
and we got
Oh, man.
two. We got Moonraiser, and we got Triple.
Hello.
Hello, bark, bark, bark. This is
How's it
crazy.
going? So great to be on.
I know,
Well-
yeah.
Well, thank you
Well-
so much, both of you, for coming on. We're really taking off with this furs for fun thingy stuff.
I know, yeah, it's super
5 minutes
cool. I
worth
saw
of
it a couple weeks ago, and like I thought it was really interesting.
Chiron,
Wow.
welcome.
Thank you.
Wow. Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. Welcome you to the show for 5 minutes or stuff.
It's nice to be here.
So you're from Florida, or Florida, as they say or Florida down there. How do they say
Florida.
that?
I say Florida, whatever.
Florida.
Good
okay.
for you. Good for you. Because if you're Florida, you're like what? Florida into the ocean? I don't know.
Hey, look, it's Koi's Raccoon. He got in on 5-minute furs for fun. Hello,
He
Kois. How are
did.
you?
Hi, thank you for having me.
Well, you're welcome. So I understand you know Taben somehow.
Yes, so I know Taben through working I guess I should say volunteering at Furlandia. You know, he helped me co-host the dance comp, and I also worked with him doing opening ceremonies where he played with Bucktown and did, I forgot the songs. I remember Take 5 and...
You did Take 5 and All You Need Is Love and Born to Be Wild.
Yes, all back to me now.
Hi, Sammy. How are you?
I am good. Very excited, actually. I have some big news.
Oh, what's the big news?
Does it make you wag?
Yes, very much so. And I will be wagging myself soon because my fursuit, at least the head, is done.
Oh.
Ha-ha!
Ha-ha! Or should I say,
Hello.
caw-caw?
Caw-caw!
Caw-caw to you too.
Hi! Ha-ha!
Hi,
How's every
Moritz.
fur today?
How are you?
Hi. I'm good. I'm glad to be here.
We tried to have a guest on just about every episode of the Pupcast, as Taben calls it, and at the end I would often ask them for their parting shot or words of wisdom. Let's hear just from a few of them what their words of wisdom were. Are there any sage words of wisdom that you'd like to impart as we close out this visit?
Yes. All you furs out there, learn to accept yourself. Once you do that, everything else is going to fall into place.
In terms of like the words of wisdom, when the time's appropriate, I mean, I would definitely go out and say in travel, I would just say be kind to each other, keep positive, because the cons one day will come back, things will get better. We'll be having those crazy room parties again.
Woo!
We're going to be having Dealer's Den, and we're going to be having shows, and Foxes and Peppers are going to be there. Just hang tight and be good to everyone.
Uncle Kage, thank you so much for joining us. Before we end our time with you, is there anything else that you would like to share with our listeners?
Just this, the earnest wish that people are giving each other these days. Stay safe out there. Keep yourselves safe. I'm looking forward to the day when all of this stuff settles down and we can start getting together again. And once we can start getting together again, I want to see all of you there.
Any words of wisdom that you would like to impart?
I think if people are listening to your show, they're already probably up there on the wisdom scale. So I don't know what I could add to that. I used to, when I did a podcast regularly, I would go on little rants about how great the furry fandom is. And I still think that. And I think that if I were to tell anyone, like new furries coming into the fandom or people who have been here a long time, it's just keep making this our community, because we're the ones who get to decide what this is.
As we come to the end of our time together, I want to wrap this up because I know it's late for you. One of the things I always ask our guests when we end the interview is, if you had to give one wise word of wisdom to the fandom, not just a word, but words, what would you tell everybody?
Just one word. First of all, let's do this in two parts. First of all, one word. You only get one word for this first part.
No, you don't, Taben. No.
That's just the first part. Then the second part.
I was going to please both of you. Well, I'll give you the single word, idiosyncratic.
Okay.
Oh, that's a
Nice
good
word.
word. I'm
Nice
going to
word.
work on pronouncing that because I don't think I can. I like that. Barely remind me to work on that word so I can say it on our next recording.
Okay.
I read enough reviews about Audis. I was like, I'm going to have to learn this word.
Yeah, no, see, I'm so with you. We are of like mind.
A word of advice I would say is, it sounds a little played to say be yourself in this fandom, whether you're a suitor or not. But I really can't stress it enough as when I first joined the fandom, I will admit, I thought I had to do certain things like to be noticed or well-liked. And, after a few years of it, I sort of gave up and I was just like, why am I doing this? I'm not happy. I mean, I'm happy to a degree, but, I'd be a hell of a lot happier if I just did whatever the hell I want.
I hope that everybody's kind and considerate to each other, and I hope that our fandom, is all keeping safe, and I can't wait to see everybody soon. And this fandom's been a big family for me for a very long time, and it's changed my entire life for the better. And so it means a lot to me. And so I'm very grateful for every little bit of support and love that this fandom has brought to me and everybody else. And I can't wait to see everybody again soon. That's all I got to say.
Nice,
Awesome.
nice.
Okay, so we always end our interview with asking our guests to give a parting shot or words of wisdom. Now, you spoke a little bit about support other furry musicians, but if you had to give our listeners one piece of advice, what would it be?
Oh, to do whatever creative thing you're doing. If I'm assuming, since I'm a musician, people, or if anyone wants any advice from me, it would be related to creative stuff. Put it out. As many successful music projects I know of that get put onto plastic and put onto streaming services as finished things that I can listen to, I know 10 more who have a really good idea and probably a really good thing. Even they're just too interested in either perfection or, I don't know, should I put out the thing? Do it. Put out whatever you're doing. If you're making videos and you just, I don't know, I don't want to do my first, put it on YouTube. You are going to hate your first anything anyway.
The strongest thing that we have is we have each other as a community. And whether it's just simply staying in touch, sending a message to that friend you haven't checked up on in a while, or just keeping social however you can. I think it's very important that as a community, as a fandom, that we continue to work with the rest of society to make sure that we can beat this thing and we can come back strong, we can come back together, and we can have an awesome 2021.
So as we end our season 1 in the podiverse world, one thing that many of our fans have asked us is for Taben and I to interview each other and ask each other questions, much like we do with our guests. And so as our final gift to you, our listeners, here are our interviews with each other. So now, obviously, Taben, that we have guests on our show every week, and we ask them questions.
Wait, what?
I know, right?
What
did you forget about that already? Wow.
This fluffy brain of mine, I don't know.
Yeah, okay. So, we ask our guests questions and we interview them. And lately, even though we did do early on a little bit of our own histories as to where we came from, but as you know, fluffs tend to have short-term memories. And
it turns out, as we just witnessed.
Yes. And so they've asked us in several places for us to ask each other questions. So I thought this would be a good time to do this at our season finale. Mm-hmm. So I have some questions about you and to you, similar to the way we ask our interviewees. And I hope that you have some for me.
I do, it turns out.
Okay. Wow. All right.
Starting out great.
Okay, so joining me today is Taben. Hi, Taben. How are you?
Well, hi there, Barely. Thanks for having me on the show. I've been looking forward to this. I've heard really great things about this wonderful podcast thing that you put on. And I wag. I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Well, very cool. Very cool. So what exactly is a Taben?
Well, it turns out that I am a pup. And I bark and I wag and I run in circles, and sometimes I run into the couchy because I get excited and I forget where I'm going. And then when I run into the couchy, I flop and then I lay there and I thumbtail twice, and then I get up and hug plant, and that's, I guess, what a Taben is.
What breed are you?
I am a border collie with a little bit of Burmese Mountain Dog.
Oh, okay. What part's the Burmese Mountain Dog?
This is actually, so hold on.
Okay.
That was a loaded question, apparently.
I see you have your spec sheet with you.
I have a file.
A file.
To remind me of my upbringing.
And your pedigree, as it were.
My pedigree, as it were. So the little bit of Burmese Mountain Dog, energetic flop eaters, I have that. Maybe it's more of me as Burmese Mountain Dog than I thought, but the Burmese Mountain Dogs are typically loving, tolerant, and gentle, and that's more of a smaller subset of me than is my border colliness.
Yes.
So, loaded question answered, I guess.
Okay. I would have thought you would have said your tail, but, I was...
Oh, that would have been so much easier. So we'll do that too. The Burmese Mountain Dog part is my tail.
Oh, there you go. Okay. All right. So
that's the loving and tolerant part, apparently.
And tolerant part of the Burmese Mountain Dog. Yes.
This is my tail.
So what is your first memory, Taben?
First memory, actually, I remember barely that you were there in my first memory.
Oh, I was?
You were. You and my now hubby were there when I came to be, and I ran around, and it was so exciting to be Fluff, find out my Fluff and run around, and I believe I hugged you about 52 million times. And my hubby probably 94.7 million times. And then I ran around some more, and then I hugged you some more. And that is my earliest memory.
Nice. All right. So one of the things we always ask our guests is, how do they find the fandom? So how did you, Taben, find the fandom?
Well, it turns out that, I came to be, and and I'm a pup, it turns out, and I found out that I'm a pup, and then I went to a con, because Sumfer told me that there's other pups and kitties and fluffs like me that can run around at a place together, and this sounded exciting. So I went to this thing. I didn't know what anything was. I'm just a pup. I don't know. So I went to this thing up in wonderful Portland, Oregon. Went to this magical place called Furlandia. And I had such an amazing time, and I was educated on this thing called the furry fandom, whatever it is. I still don't even know. It's crazy, but I hear they ruin everything. That's what I hear anyway. I know I sure do. Whenever I hug a plant, it always falls over, and then there's dirt and leaves everywhere. And then I go and hug a lamp, and you can imagine how that goes. So apparently they ruin everything. And it was just a great place and a great time. And I decided, this seems like a place for a pup like me. So I stuck with it and been there ever since. And that was back in 2016, I believe.
Wow. So you've asked our listeners many times how many cons they go to and what they do. So how many cons do you attend year round? Pre-COVID or post-COVID? And what is a typical day at a con like for Taben?
Wow. Okay. So the number of cons I go to pre-COVID, I think first few years before COVID, I've been going to 6 a year. My typical ones would be Further Confusion that we go to, of course, as you know that, I think. Yep. And TFF is amazing. Love that. And Furlandia, BLFC, of course, we go to. And what else would I typically... Oh, A&W, of course. Love the A&W.
Of course.
Those would be my typical ones, and then I might intersperse things. We went to Spokane Throw. The first few years, actually, of my cons, as I mentioned, Furlandia was my first one, but that year I only went to 3. I went to Furlandia and RMFC. It was the last RMFC in Colorado, and Califort that year. But anyway, it stabilized into those have been my typical. And AC went in there 1 year. And that was good. But those were my typical ones. And what would I typically do at a con? Well, it turns out I run around.
That's all you do?
That's I and I guess in doing the run around, if I'm at a con with you, or I think pretty much any fur else that is with me at a con, they at least spend lots of time trying to find me and run after me.
Yes.
I know we have some stories about that. So I run around. I often do the dances. This pup loves the dances. And I do some panels. I do story time. I've done some math panels, product review panels. I've done various panels and stuff. So I do a lot of things at cons. So I run around to summarize all that.
The second con that I went to with Taben, I literally chipped him. I put a chip in his tail so I could track him, because at the first con, I lost him for almost 4 hours and could not find him.
That's right.
So
Was that BLFC?
That was BLFC, yes. So I
Okay.
chipped you so I could find you.
Yep.
A little tracking chip in the Taben.
It's not an exaggeration when I say every fur that goes to a con with me is trying to find me most of the time.
Right.
I think you've said this multiple times that like
Multiple
you
times, yes.
you turn around. Like
And
I'm
you're
right
gone.
there, and you just like look at someone and then look back, and I've run off. I get distracted because I'm a pup. It turns out.
It's like you've been zapped by aliens all of a sudden. You're there, and now you're not. And
That's it. Alien
it's just
fluffs.
terrible. Alien fluff's gone. Poof. You're gone. So where do you find all your energy?
I mean, I guess the obvious answer is my tail, but the Burmese Mountain Dog part of me, actually, no, it's the Border Collie part of me that gets the energy. So I know maybe Border Collie has helped Burmese Mountain Dog part because the tail and everything. Other than that, I don't know. You know, actually, it's interesting, and I'm sure you've heard furs ask me this too at a con. It's like literally at every con, at least several furs will ask, Taben, where does it come from? And my answer is always, I actually have no idea. I guess now I know it's the tail. It's all about the tail.
All about the tail.
Yeah, I think that's all I can say about that. That's all I know.
All right. Well,
it just
that's
happens.
Cool. That's cool. And finally, you have a very unique vocabulary. You
Actually, I
often-
want to add really quick to the previous thing just to say, and I guess it's just I'm a pup and I'm really excited to see all the fluff and the furs, and it's just amazing to be in this community, and I'm just happy to be there and everything. So that I think fuels the energy of this pup.
I think you are probably correct. You have a unique vocabulary. Where do you come up with these words, or do you hear them from somewhere, or what? Why do you make up words for things? Why? Just why?
Just actually, let's just go with why. So, actually, I don't know the answer to that because I don't hear them anywhere else. They just come to me. It's like it makes sense in my puppy brain, like Plufferdine. For me, that's just obvious. I mean, come on. Hello, Hinderfruit. Hello. That's just obvious. So it just like comes to me. Sometimes it's in the moment. Actually, no. Usually it's just in the moment. I don't usually take like all night thinking, okay, I've got to craft the perfect word for Fluffster's unabridged dictionary.
Right.
It just comes to me. So I don't know. There it is.
All right. Well, look forward to season 2 because we're going to define words of
We're actually
Taben.
Okay.
We're
That'll
we're
be
going to
interesting and fun
define
to
them.
do.
It will
Okay.
be. It will be. We have a Taben vocabulary list. Now, everybody think back to grade school when you were learning spelling and vocabulary, and every Monday you had your spelling book, remember? And you had the 10 or 15 or 20 words, depending on what grade you were in, and you had to memorize them all and how to spell them and what the definition was. Well, we're going to talk to Taben every week next season about the words that he's come up with and what they actually mean.
I am going to have some homework, pup work, as it
Right.
were, next season. So tune
Also
in to next season, and let's. I'm excited to find out what these words actually mean. So we'll do that.
And whether he can spell them.
And that'll be a big thing. Can this pup actually spell these words that apparently I know?
They're your words, so clearly you must
I
know
hope
them,
so.
right? Okay, so as you know, we ask our guests for a parting shot or wise word of wisdom. So Taben, I know that you give wise words of wisdom every week, as do I, but I want your official, I'm an interviewee on the BFFT podcast, Wise Words of Wisdom.
The furs in the community are awesome. We're literally, I truly believe, one of the most accepting, most supporting, most whatever word encapsulates that fandom community that there is. I mean, every community is great and supports each other and stuff. But we furs, we've seen it time and time again. We really help each other out. We really care and we're really supportive. and we help others out too. And I think that really helps drive us all. Right now, times are hard. They're getting better, but definitely times aren't the easiest for every fur out there, I know. But I think, and I have heard this from other furs too, being in the fandom and having the support to help each other out, that's just been amazing and very helpful, I think, for a lot. So I would say keep helping each other out, keep being supportive, try and keep optimistic, keep loving what you love, and keep doing what you do. Because loving and doing what you do is the best thing you can do. So there it is.
All right. Well, thank you, Taben. My guest tonight has been Taben. Just
Thank you.
Taben.
Just Taben. Just
You don't
Taben.
you don't have another name. It's like I
Maybe
just realized that.
it's Wags. Taben Wags. Maybe
I
I
just
don't know.
realized that you don't have a last name. You're one of those celebrities like Cher or
Like Cher.
like
Yeah, no, like Cher or who
those
else
other
is
people
there?
with one name.
There's other people that just have one name.
One name.
John.
Yeah. Like,
I don't know.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
all right. Cool.
Okay,
thank
well,
you very much,
so
Taben.
much for having me on the show. I hope you'll have me on the show again someday, Mr.
Well, I hope
Barry.
so too. Since it's our show.
Oh yeah, that's right. I
That's
think
right,
we talked
yeah.
about the memory thing with this fluff
The memory.
earlier,
Yeah, I
so
know.
there it is.
Yeah, the fluff. There you go.
And so, Barely, thank you for being on the show and accepting the invitation to be on Barely Furcasting featuring Taben. Very, very nice of you to show up.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
I know
it's
it
a
took
pleasure to
little-
be here.
Thank you. Yes, and I know it took a long time to schedule. It was a lot of work, and I know you were very, very hesitant at first. But our
Well,
talents,
you are, you are.
I
the
am.
fandom. You are the fandom. I mean, so it's
we'll
very
just go with that. Maybe that's
Yeah.
my last name, the fandom. Taben the fandom.
Taben the fandom. It's like
But yes, Rain Raccoon, my talent scout for the show, finally wrangled you in. And so thank you so much for that. And I'm glad you
You're quite welcome.
came to your senses, apparently.
Apparently, I know. I kept giving excuses as to why I couldn't be on the show. I was just so busy with everything else going on.
You really were. I mean, you had Alexa trying to give you boxing gloves and Alexa trying to give you a shirt that you have had for a million years and have 5 of because she's already recommended them like 10 times. So
Yes.
that kept you very busy.
It's been very busy, yes.
So, Mr. Barry, could you tell us about the fursona? What species are you? What brought you to be? Is there anything special about you that we should know?
Yes. So my species, if you will, which is
That is so off the rails. Dun dun dun.
my species, I'm a hybrid bear and binturong. So
Nice.
my upper half brain part is a bear. I have a bear brain. But I'm extremely nearsighted, so I wear glasses all the time. But my bottom half, I guess, is a binturong, and that's because the binturong has one of the largest tails in the animal kingdom.
How long is an average Binturong tail length?
Up to 1.5 times their body length.
Holy pup! Wow, that's a big tail. And
that's a lot of tail.
What is a Binturong? I mean, is it its own species or is it like part of thing?
It's its own species. It's a branch off of it's a branch off the anteater.
Anteater
family.
I don't know if I knew that.
Yeah,
actually.
so it's a branch off of that family. It's sometimes called a bear cat because they didn't know what to call it when they when the humans came along and they saw this animal. They didn't know it. They said it looked like a bear and a cat, so that's kind of what it looks like. So
that sounds like a furry was the first scientist to discover a Binturong because they called it. I mean, like bear cat came to mind, so that's amazing. And are there any special cosmetic, as it were, features such as smells or anything?
Well, a bear cat. Well, first of all, a bear doesn't smell great. So, but I tend to smell a lot like whiskey. But I'm going to say that the bear part smells like whiskey. But the binturong, a binturong in the wild smells like buttered popcorn.
Ooh, so they're really popular at movies.
They're very at the movie theater. Yeah, he's like, hey, there must be. What is that? Oh, there's a Binturong in the theater. Yes,
Exactly. No, I thought I just went to the condiment bar, but no, there's a Binturong.
No, it's a Binturong. Yes, I'm walking down there. And it's kind of gross actually. But the reason they smell like buttered popcorn is because that huge, large, bushy tail that they have. That when they pee, the tail gets pee on it.
Oh,
Okay.
that's a little messy.
A little messy, but their pee smells like buttered popcorn, and so hence they smell like buttered popcorn.
Like buttered popcorn.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's a really great scientific fact. I think it's important to know these things.
It is. It is. So if you see me at a con and I'm peeing on you, it's because I want you to smell like popcorn.
It's really a grand gesture.
It's a grand gesture.
Is
Yes.
giving you by peeing,
on you and making you smell like popcorn.
If I pee, no, let's not go that way. So, how long has Barely been around, and how did you come to be originally? Like, where did it come from?
It came from my brain because
That's a good place where the whiskey comes from.
Whiskey comes from Tennessee or Scotland.
Oh,
or,
the other way. It doesn't go the. Okay, got it.
No, it doesn't come out of my brain into the bottles. No, it's very hard to do that.
That would save you lots of money, though.
It would, yeah, or hurt a lot. But so I had this friend named Taben. Oh, wait a minute, it was you. That's right, it was you.
Me?
And you said, "Hey, would you come to a con with me?" Because I knew very little about the furry fandom. And I said, "Well, sure. What's a con like?" And you said, "Well, you know how I am all the time?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Imagine 1,000 people like that."
and you got scared, but they're still here. That's amazing.
That sounds like fun. And so I had to, at that point, I kind of researched out the fandom because honestly, until I met you, Taben, I didn't know diddly boob about the furry fandom. And
well, it's important to, when you know diddly boob, he's
a rap singer. He's a rap singer
Mr.
from
Boob, diddly.
diddly boob. So when I registered for the con, they said they had a question. It says, "What's your name and your species?" And I was like, well, I'm a bear, clearly. I mean, and then I blah blah blah. So I just came up with that, and it's been that ever since. And of course my name had to be a pun. It had to be.
Yes, definitely.
So,
I mean, there's no other choice here.
There was no other choice. And so I just said that I was barely normal because I figured the fandom is barely normal.
It's very true. Very, very true. So you actually do have a last name too, as if
I have a last name. Yes.
Mr. Normal.
Mr. Normal. Yes.
And which con was that we first went to, Mr. Barely Normal?
Our first con together was FC 2017. Further Confusion 2017.
There you go.
Yep.
And
I remember specifically pulling up to get out of the car, and there was this big white husky playing an electric guitar out in the street in front of the hotel.
Oh, nice.
And that was my first memory of a con. It's like, wow, there we are. There it is. There it is. Right there.
Yeah, no, I had similar. My first con was also there. It is. It's like we're there. We're obviously there.
Yeah, and what was really funny was I walked in, I got all my stuff, I walked away, and the furries started hugging me. Absolute stranger. Didn't know who I was. They're coming up and hugging me, and I was like, "All right, this is okay. I can deal with this. This is fun."
I kind of like this. And I remember that first night we went back out and everything, but at one point we went back to, because I had to go to my puppy dish to get some water or something.
Right.
And I hadn't asked you yet how things are going or everything. I wanted you to just immerse yourself a little bit and see what it's like. And I didn't know. It's like, how's he feeling about this? I hope I didn't drag him to something that he's hating. So we went back to the hotel room. First time we went back. And I was like, okay, so, be honest with me. You can be truthful because I know this isn't for everyone. What do you think? The only thing you said was, "This is so much fun."
Right. Yes.
So I was like,
Absolutely.
okay,
Yeah.
everything's fine, everything's okay.
Everything's fine. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Is history, not
History.
Amos,
Herstory?
because Tori Amos. So his Tori or
Amos.
her
His
Amos.
Tori
I don't
Taben. Her Tori Amos. Yes.
So next season when I mean, you're a guest on the show, so you'll be back at some point, hopefully.
I'm sure I
next
will.
season.
Yes.
When we do history with Barely, we should do instead her Amos with. Although that
Her
actually
Amos Tori.
sounds bad. So
No,
maybe
that's really
not.
bad. We probably shouldn't do
Never
that.
mind. Strike that. Strike that.
Do you have another question for me, Taben?
I do. So you've been to cons, obviously, of course. And what do you like to do at cons?
My job at cons
is
to take care of you.
Oh,
that's
me.
Yes, and I think I do a fairly good job. I always tease and I say that I'm your valet, and I picked up that term from watching Downton Abbey, where the lord of the manor had a person that took care of him, made sure that his clothes were laid out, that he got food and all that stuff, and that was the valet's job, was to take care of the lord of the manor. And so you are the lord of the manor, and I am your valet.
As a matter of fact, I guess.
As a matter of, and I always thought I always joked about. Well, I mean, technically, I'm like what they call a handler, and a lot of furs have handlers, especially furs that are huge or quads or things like that. They normally have a handler hanging around, watching, make sure that nobody breaks them. Much like you when you exuberantly tackle somebody.
So, like when I do things, basically.
Basically, yeah. So some of those furs, if they had handlers, could like intercede and say, "Please don't break my furry."
Please don't break the fluff. We need that fluff.
We need the fluff. So, but technically, I'm a handler. I say that I'm more your valet because I always have to make sure that you're meeting all your needs and eating, because you tend to forget.
So, do you have any favorite con memory or memories?
Oh, con memories, favorite con memories. I go back to my first con all the time because so much was new and so much was exciting. And that's FC. Now, my funnest memory that I have is doing our Taben Talks With show.
Oh, yeah.
At BLFC. Now, we started it kind of as a one-off, and we were at FC our second year, and wasn't even a formalized panel. We just grabbed a corner of the hotel and you talked to guests, and we had 4 cameras set up and sound system and the whole bit, and people were just walking by going, "What the hell's going on?
What
are
is
they
going
doing?
on? What are you doing?"
Yeah. And
we had
before you know it,
3 guests, I think.
we had 3 guests, and then you had a co-host with Clovix, and it was kind of fun. And then we branched out and we decided, let's do this like a regular talk show. And so we did that. We were going to do it the next year, but a certain puppy got sick that year.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
I have a feeling I know who that pup was.
Yeah. And so we had to postpone it, and we did it the next year. But we had a panel room, and it was kind of fun. And I think we had 5 guests on that one. But that's my favorite. That was my favorite con memory, was doing that live television show as if it were a real television show.
And it was. So, in my puppy brain, it was. So, any fur, check out BLFC Taben Talks With talk show. It's on my YouTube. So you can check that out. And I know Cody Howell was there. So he's staff member of big on the board of directors, I think, of BLFC or something like that. Yeah. So we interviewed him.
His best joke was that his hair was beautiful. He grew it himself.
That's right. He did that. So go watch that, and you can listen to it. Actually say that. And we had Zarafa on the show. If any for knows Zarafa, and a few other great furs. It was a good time. That was a good time. So I heard, in fact, this was alluded to earlier. I heard that you like puns.
No, I hate them. Absolutely hate them.
They go away. Go away now.
They go away, puns. Yeah. No, I love puns.
And so tell us about that.
Oh,
I think you just did. I love them, but okay, more.
I've been a punster all my life. I think my father is the king of puns, and our family was raised, myself and my two sisters were raised with puns. It was just what we did around the dinner table.
That's
And
awesome.
to this day, if I get together with my sisters, we pun ourselves to
watch
death.
out.
Yeah, and it's hours and hours. So when my husband Alex, is with us, he sometimes has to leave the room because he just like
He
I've had
doesn't
enough.
get them. He doesn't even get them. He
Doesn't even get him half the time. No. And in fact, other than the podcast, because the door is closed and nobody can hear us, when I'm at home, I have a 2 pun a day limit. I can't give more than well, unless if people can hear me. If I'm alone, I can say all the puns I want because nobody can hear me. It's like if a bear tells a pun in the forest and nobody hears it, did he really tell the pun?
Did he really? See, really? I mean, I say no. I say you're good. You're in the clear. You're fine.
That's right. So I don't have to worry about my limit. No, I have a 2 pun limit. So yeah,
That's awesome. That's awesome. Do you have off the top of your fluff your favorite pun or a
No.
favorite pun? Yeah,
I really don't. No, I don't tend to remember them after I make them for the most part.
Yeah, no,
It's like, oh, there's
that
a great
happened.
pun.
Okay, bye bye.
Yeah, it's just a function of my brain, and I'm not sure. Like I said, I blame my father.
This pup wants to come and be in the corner of the room when you're having a family dinner sometime. Because holy pup.
Oh yeah, it's terrible. So
because it turns out that this pup likes puns a little bit too. I don't know if you've heard many of our shows, but it turns out that I like them too. Speaking of which, you have this great podcast. It turns out I've heard about this great podcast you have. You do this amazing job editing it and directing for it. I've seen some of your videos. You have this great ability to edit videos, and you do a good job like filming and editing and everything. So how long have you been doing this wonderful multimedia stuff?
Well, I've done multimedia stuff. I was the kid in grade school. I was the AV nerd.
Nice.
So, wheel the cart around and hook up the televisions.
that was you.
That was me. I was the AV nerd in my grade school.
That's adorable.
So I've been doing AV since I was 4th grade.
Wow.
And many, 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 many years. And then I met you. And
you did. It turns out you did.
I did. Yeah, I met you. And I decided that I saw your first attempt at a video. And I thought, okay, I can help. So
yes, exactly. So for any that would be my first question answer with Taben video. It might or might not still be my YouTube. I don't know. Maybe I got
I'm pretty sure it is.
Took it off.
Yeah.
Oh, it might be okay.
All right. And I thought I could help. I have no formal training in any of this, but I have a ability to learn, and I have the ability to purchase equipment that makes it better.
This is a true fact. I can attest to that.
And so I've learned a lot working with you on various shows and audio and video and all this other stuff. And actually, I'm concerned personally that my video skills and directorial things have suffered during COVID because we've concentrated solely on audio. But I'm sure that all of it shall come back to me.
I think so.
When we can get together again.
I bet it's like, as it were, riding the proverbial bike.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, no,
so
be good.
No formal training, no, but just enjoy doing it, and I have a willing subject to do it with, you.
Oh, I was going to say, who would that be, Barry? But okay, it's true. I can help you out. That's my calling.
Right. That's right.
My
there you
calling
are.
Or something. I don't know. Yay. So is there anything else that you would like first to know about you, Barely?
Just if you see me at a con, and well, first of all, here's a funny thing. So a lot of people don't recognize me if you're not next to me. So, but if I'm next to you, they know it's Taben and Barely. They know it's Taben and Barely. And I'm sure that when your hubby is at cons with you, some of the furs ask if that's Barely.
I think that has happened before, actually. Yes.
So it'll be funny now that we are semi-famous with our podcast, and you're shows and stuff, and we're going to be going to, well, I'm going to be going to a lot more cons with you than I have in the past because my hubby said I can.
Yay, hubby.
Thank you, Alex. And I'm sure there'll be cons now that where I'm there and Tatsu's there, your honey.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just going to confuse the furs.
Confusey fluff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I look forward to the very first con where Tatsu and I are together with you.
That'll be fun.
And furs don't know what to have. Well, which one's barely?
Yeah. I think we should make sure not to tell them and make them try and guess and figure
Try
it
and
out.
guess. Yeah. And we'll know if they're a fan of the audio cast because they'll recognize my voice.
See, there you go. That's you got something.
Yep.
So, Mr. Burley,
yes, Mr. Taben.
There is something that we do for all of our guests. Thank you so much for being a guest on the
you're quite
podcast,
welcome.
as it were.
Yes, as it were.
If you will.
If you will. We're off the rails. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. And for all of our interviewees, all of our guests at the end, we always like to ask a parting shot. So that's wise words of wisdom for the fandom. In case you didn't know what I meant by parting shot, that's what I mean. So Barely, could you give us your parting shot?
My parting shot and words of wisdom to the fandom are be who you intend to be. If you intend to be a dog, be a dog. If you intend to be a pup, be a pup. But be who you are. Don't pretend to be who you're not. And when you go to cons and you see people, hug them, treat them nice. And if you see a fur sitting there with all alone, go up and say hi. Because this fandom is not a loner fandom. Go to people and say hello. If you see a person standing there by themselves, clearly they want to be part of the fandom, and they're probably new. They're probably a new fan to the fandom. They're probably a new fur. Go up and say hi. You never know what that's going to do for that person. So everybody should embrace everybody. And, if that just means one hug of 5,000 furs in a room, that's just one big hug.
It's one big hug.
One big hug.
A big hug is better than even a little hug. Let alone a no hug. It's
right.
No,
right.
That's wonderful. I approve. I wag for that. That's wonderful. That's a great parting shot. Thank you, Barely.
Well, you're quite welcome.
Can't wait to try that out and go to a con sometime. Wouldn't that be great?
Be great. It'd be nice to go to a con sometime. Yes.
And try that out. Actually, not even for trying that out. Let's just go to a con.
Let's just go to a con.
Go to con. There's no cons to that. Let me tell you.
No, there's always pro to it.
It's always, and it's like I say, if you go to a fur con that has a lot of poetry in it, there are pros and cons to that.
I'm waiting for the crickets.
I know, I hear them. I totally
hear those crickets. Yes.
I love those crickets. They have been so supportive for me in our last year together.
Yes, we have had a lot of crickets on our show.
There have been so many. Anyway, our show, I don't know. You're my first guest or something. Anyway, yes, thank you so much for coming on the show, Barely.
Well, you're quite welcome.
We'll see you next time. And until then, until season 2, all you furs, season 2, so exciting. This is our finale for season 1. Can't wait to bark at you again next season. So until then, love you all and have a good night.
And what's our word?
Moobarkfluff.
Moobarkfluff. Everyone in the fandom, Moobarkfluff.
Yes.
And so this wraps up our season 1. To all our listeners, thank you so much for being our fans. To all our guests, Gabriel, Cassidy Civet, Lemnius Griffs, Zarafa, Blue Hasaya, Paco Panda, Rio Gray Fox, Kyle Gold, Cord Kitty, Rucus, Uncle Kage, Temperance and Momo Mouse, Albiorn, Pacho Fur, Renegade Roo, Fox Amore from Foxes and Peppers, and Pepper from Foxes and Peppers, Easy Wolf, Strobes, Matrices, Fiber Kitty and Dusk Panda, Bucktown Tiger, Dr. Sharon Roberts, Lux Operon, Kazul Graves, Ronnie Callan, Haven T. Fusky, Fluke the Husky, Kois Raccoon, Yubei from Sittin' Kitten, Path Hyena, Addy Boyo, Captain Boons, Timber Puppers, Shadow Raccoon, and Theodore Rabbit, Ronnie Noodles, Summercat, Goku, Finn, Twitch to Wolf, Hogwash Husky, Misha B. Barkin, Sherbert Shenanigans, Nom 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 Nom, Kiteless Rexy, and Catherine Gandy. Thank you so much for being on our show, taking time out of your busy schedule to be a part of our little show. To our staff, Rain Raccoon, Canes, Bixby Wolf, and Reg Day, we couldn't do it without you. To my husband Alex and to Taben's husband Tatsu, we couldn't do this show without your undying love and support. Fans, Season 2 will be some of the same things and some new things, so be sure to share and subscribe and keep listening. Moobarkfluff, stay furry. Barely Furcasting is an Injured Nerves studio production and is found on all major podcast platforms or can be heard directly at barelyfurcasting.com. The opinions expressed here are those of the hosts and their guests, and no commercial compensation was granted. The Furcast is produced, recorded, and directed by me, Barely Normal, aka Mike Began, and is edited by myself and our associate editors Rain Raccoon and Bixby Wolf. Opening and closing theme music, as well as some interstitial music, was created for Injured Nerves Productions for the use on the podcast by our music associate Reg Day with Damien Tanuki. If you would like to hear more of music by Reg Day, you can search for Tweezerbeak on Bandcamp or Hoop Loop Tunes on SoundCloud. Other interstitial and background music by Shane Ivers through silvermansound.com and the YouTube free use library. If you would like to send us a message, you can do so via email at barelyfurcasting@gmail.com or on our Telegram chat at BFFTchat, on Twitter, on our Facebook page, or on the barelyfurcasting.com webpage. You can support the show through donations at ko-fi.com/barelyfurcasting or through Patreon at patreon.com/barelyfurcasting. Thanks for listening. We hope you come back and listen next week.